Hi, and welcome to The Dreaming Scientist, a quiet place in deep space with softly spoken science for sleepy minds. Tonight we're exploring how the brain really works in clear, gentle steps, what it does, how it senses, learns, and rests. Get comfortable, let your breathing slow, and let the ideas drift by like clouds. But before you do that, take a moment to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Also comment down below where you are watching from. It is always intriguing to know who is watching us around the world, and thank you so much for being here. So how does our brain really work? Your brain's main job isn't to be clever, it's to keep you alive with the least possible waste, second by second, year after year. Think of it as a quiet manager balancing a body-wide budget. That budget includes oxygen, sugar, salts, temperature, water, hormones, and rest. When the balance is right, you feel okay. When the balance tilts, you feel hunger, thirst, fear, pain, or sleepiness. The brain's trick is that it rarely waits until things go wrong. It predicts needs in advance and prepares the body before trouble shows up. You stand, the heart is told to beat a touch harder so you don't faint. You see dinner, the gut starts releasing juices before a bite reaches it. Psychologists call this allostasis, stability through change. To pull it off, the brain runs a loop. Sense arrow predict arrow act, arrow sense again. Senses provide noisy clues. The brain compares those clues to its best guess about what will happen next. Then it updates the guess and sends signals to the body to act or to wait. It is not a single CPU issuing orders. It's a crowd of tiny parts working in parallel, each voting for an action like a choir singing with many voices. Some parts care about vision, some about sound, some about body position, some about heart rhythm, some about threat and safety, and many about memory of similar moments in the past. The guesses the brain makes are built from experience. Every step you've taken and every sound you've heard tweak the internal settings, so predictions get faster and better suited to your world. Because prediction is the engine, the brain is also a natural storyteller. It strings together causes and effects to explain what just happened and what likely happens next. Sometimes it guesses wrong. That's when you mishear a word, jump at a shadow, or feel your phone buzz when it didn't. The brain corrects these errors by comparing what it expected with what actually came in. The difference is a prediction error that drives learning. This same loop runs for big things and tiny things. Big, planning a trip and saving energy for a long walk. Tiny, adjusting finger pressure on a slippery glass so it doesn't fall. Your conscious you is more like a ship's narrator than a captain. You feel in charge, but most adjustments happen below awareness, fast and automatic, so your conscious attention can handle new or complicated matters. The brain is also social. It uses other people's faces, voices, and actions as extra sensors to update its guesses about the world and your place in it. In short, the brain really works as a predict and prepare machine wrapped around a body, using memories as a map, senses as checkers, and actions as bets placed on the next moment. When prediction is easy, life feels effortless. When prediction is hard, new city, new job, loud stress, your energy budget burns fast, and you feel tired or on edge. Caring for a brain means helping its predictions, regular sleep and meals, familiar rhythms, clear signals, and kind environments that make the next moment easier to guess. Under a microscope, the brain isn't a grey blob. It's a forest of cells talking in electrical sparks and chemical whispers. The most famous cells are neurons. A neuron has branches that listen, dendrites, a long cable that sends, the axon, and tiny junctions that speak to the next cell, synapses. When a neuron decides to send a message, it creates a quick electrical pulse called a spike or action potential that zips down the axon. At the synapse, that spike triggers the release of chemicals called neurotransmitters, which drift across a tiny gap and change the likelihood that the next neuron will spike. Two main neurotransmitter tones set the balance. Glutamate tends to excite, go, and GABA tends to inhibit, slow down. Others act like mood lighting, not on-off switches. Dopamine highlights importance and reward learning. Serotonin shapes patience and mood. Acetylcholine sharpens attention. Norepinephrine raises alertness. Many axons are wrapped in myelin, a fatty insulation made by helper cells that lets signals travel faster and farther with less energy, like slipping a wire into a smooth sleeve. But neurons are not alone. Glia are the unsung heavy lifters. Astrocytes feed neurons, mop up extra chemicals, and help control blood flow like tiny traffic cops who send more fuel to busy corners. Oligodendrocytes in brain and spinal cord, and Schwann cells in peripheral nerves create that myelin insulation, speeding communication. Microglia act as gardeners and guards. They prune weak connections during development, remove debris, and respond to injury. Together, neurons and glia form living circuits that rewire themselves as you learn. Connections strengthen or weaken based on use, a family of changes called plasticity. Cells that fire together, wire together, and out of sync lose their link are simple ways to remember the rules. Plasticity happens at different speeds: milliseconds for quick signal boosts, minutes to hours for early learning, days to months for structural changes like new spines on dendrites, and years for myelin tuning that refines pathways you use often, like reading or playing an instrument. The brain also runs on careful chemistry. Ions, charged atoms like sodium, potassium, calcium, chloride, flow through channels that open and close, setting the rhythm of spikes. Pumps shove ions back to reset the stage. Second messengers inside the cell act like notes handed from one worker to another, saying, "Build more receptors," "Move this channel," or "Grow that branch." None of this is a single master switch. It's a marketplace of influence. Every neuron sums thousands of tiny votes, some for, some against, before deciding to spike. From those local elections emerges a coherent thought, a movement, a memory, a mood. It's ordinary biology scaled to staggering numbers, about 86 billion neurons in a human brain, each with up to thousands of synapses, adding up to trillions of adjustable connections. The miracle isn't that mistakes happen, it's that with noisy parts, limited fuel, and constant change, the whole system stays stable enough to learn, imagine, and love. Your brain is not a random tangle. It's an organized landscape with maps and highways. In the back of your head sits the visual cortex, a sheet that preserves the layout of the retina. Neighboring points in space map to neighboring clusters of neurons, like a projector screen that lives inside you. In your temples, the auditory cortex maps pitch along gentle gradients, so tones close in frequency tickle nearby cells. In the top strip across your head, somatosensory and motor areas map the body. Lips and fingers get big real estate because you use them with fine detail. These are not rigid borders, they blur and negotiate, and experience can redraw lines. Learn to read Braille and finger maps grow. Lose sight and the visual cortex can lend space to hearing or touch. Beneath the cortex, thalamus acts as a smart relay, shaping and routing signals, and basal ganglia help choose actions by weighing options and habits. The cerebellum in the back, once thought only for balance, predicts the sensory consequences of movement and fine-tunes timing. It also lends its prediction talent to thinking and language rhythms. All these regions talk along white matter highways, long myelinated axon bundles that link distant neighborhoods. Communication isn't one way, it's loops. Bottom-up signals report what senses detected. Top-down signals carry predictions about what should be there. Where prediction matches input, activity quiets. Where it clashes, error signals rise and the brain updates its model. You can feel this duel when you stare at an optical illusion. Top-down expectation insists on one interpretation, bottom-up evidence hints at another, and your perception flips. Many people ask about left brain versus right brain. There are real asymmetries. Language tends to lean left, certain spatial skills right, but both sides constantly exchange information through the corpus callosum, and complex tasks recruit both hemispheres. It's better to think networks, not halves. Scientists often name networks by their roles. The salience network helps notice what matters. The executive network holds goals in mind and suppresses distractions. The default mode network supports mind wandering, memories, and imagining other minds. These networks wax and wane like gentle tides, not light switches. Coordination has rhythms. Brain cells can sync in slow waves, delta, relaxed idling, alpha, focused processing, beta, or faster bursts, gamma. These aren't magic frequencies that make you smart, they are ways distant areas time. They're messages so signals arrive when partners are ready to listen, like clapping on the same beat. When timing goes off, messages miss each other and tasks feel hard. When timing locks in, tasks feel smooth. The secret is that no single area contains a complete picture. A face is recognized by a coalition. Shapes and edges here, colors there, emotions elsewhere, names in language areas, all bound together by well-timed traffic. The picture you experience is a negotiation that finishes just in time for the next moment. We like to think our eyes and ears record the world like cameras and microphones, but the brain doesn't deliver a raw feed. It builds a best guess, a controlled hallucination anchored to reality by constant checks. Every moment, top-down predictions try to explain away sensory inputs. If the inputs fit the guess, perception feels stable and effortless. If not, the brain must either revise the guess or treat the mismatch as noise. This is why you can read missing letters in a sentence. Your brain fills gaps based on context. It's also why you sometimes mishear lyrics or think your phone vibrated when it didn't. Attention is how the brain decides which bits deserve the best modeling right now. It's like turning up the volume on some channels and turning others down, guided by goals. Top down, listen for your name. And by sudden events. Bottom up, a glass shatters. Because attention is limited, what you don't attend can be filtered out so strongly that you fail to see a person in a gorilla suit walk through a scene, a famous demonstration of inattentional blindness. Vision shows the rules clearly. The blind spot where your optic nerve exits the retina has no photoreceptors, yet you don't see a hole. The brain fills it with nearby patterns. Color is not a property stuck to objects. It's a brain solution to guess the reflectance of surfaces under changing light. That's why the same dress can look blue/black or white/gold depending on what illumination your brain assumes. Brightness, size, and motion illusions exploit the shortcuts our brain uses to be fast most of the time. Sound works the same way. In noisy rooms, your brain predicts words from fragments. It can even invent a phantom syllable when a burst of noise hides the real one, a trick called the phoneme restoration effect. Smell and taste are deeply tied to memory and emotion. Their predictions can make a cheap wine taste better if you believe it's expensive, or make you gag at a food you once ate before getting sick. Pain is not a direct measure of tissue damage, it's the brain's protective inference. If your system predicts threat based on signals from skin and joints and on context, pain can ramp up to force rest, even when scans show no new injury. Flip the context, attention elsewhere, safety signals strong, and pain can soften. None of this means the world isn't real. It means perception is an active contract between your brain's model and the incoming data. The contract is usually excellent because the model has been trained on your lifetime of moments. But it can be bent by expectation, stress, culture, and need. The upside is huge. Knowing perception is a guess gives you levers. You can improve guesses by changing context, better light, quieter room, by slowing down, by learning what tricks your senses play, and by understanding that someone else, with a different history and state, may truly experience the same scene differently. The brain really works like a scientist, proposing, testing, revising, except it has to do it fast, with noisy data, on a tight energy budget, and it never gets to stop. Memory isn't a single shelf where you store perfect recordings. It's a set of processes that help the brain save energy in the future. Think of 3 friendly helpers working together. First is working memory, a tiny mental notepad that holds a phone number long enough to dial or the first half of a sentence while you read the second. It's small, easily knocked over by distractions, and loves chunking, turning 19452024 into 1945 to 2024. Second is learning in skills and habits, like riding a bike or typing, where practice carves smoother paths, so actions need less attention. Third is episodic memory, your storybook of places and moments. A small structure deep in the brain, the hippocampus, acts like an indexer. When something matters, novel, emotional, or repeated, it helps link the who, what, where, when, across many regions into a retrievable pattern. Encoding is not the same as understanding. Both improve when you attach meaning, relate a new idea to something you already know, draw it, teach it, or use it. The brain strengthens memories not only when you cram them in, but when you pull them back out. Retrieval practice, testing yourself, leaves a deeper trace than rereading. Spacing also matters. Spaced repetition, little reviews over days, beats one giant session because each gap creates a small struggle that tells the brain, keep this. Sleep is the library assistant that stays late. During deep sleep, the brain replays patterns and files them. During REM, it weaves links and emotions. This is why a solution pops up after a nap, and why all-nighters feel like borrowing from tomorrow and paying interest with confusion. Forgetting isn't failure, it's strategy. Your brain prunes details to keep the map useful, keeping the gist and letting trivia fade unless it's refreshed. That's also why memory is reconstructive. Each time you remember, you rebuild a scene from stored pieces, and the rebuild can drift, picking up suggestions, feelings, or bits from similar events. This reconsolidation is a gift. Paired with safety and new context, it can soften the bite of hard memories. Paired with rumor, it can warp eyewitness accounts. Emotions tag memories. Moderate emotion boosts encoding. The brain marks this matters. While extreme stress can narrow attention so you catch the loudest detail but miss background and sequence. The friendliest way to learn anything new is to make it concrete, examples. Make it active, do something with it. Make it spaced, short sessions, over time. And make it social. Explain it, ask questions, compare notes. Multisensory cues help. A smell, a place, a routine time of day. The hippocampus loves context. If you can't recall a fact, jog context. Where did you learn it? What picture was nearby? What joke did someone tell? That tip of the tongue feeling is your brain finding the right index card. Finally, the line between memory and skill is thinner than we think. Practice literally changes connections and even myelin, turning effortful steps into smooth paths so your conscious attention is free for the next new thing. Learning is not a talent lottery, it's construction. Build slowly, test gently, rest often, and your brain will turn today's heavy lift into tomorrow's light habit. A habit is your brain's way of saving fuel. When this cue appears, run this routine to get that result. Think of walking into the kitchen, cue, putting on the kettle, routine, and enjoying tea, result. With repetition, the beginning of the sequence predicts the end so strongly that your brain starts the routine before you decide, freeing attention for other tasks. Dopamine is often called the pleasure chemical, but it's better to think of it as a teacher signal. It spikes when outcomes are better than expected, a positive prediction error, and dips when they're worse than expected. Those tiny rises and dips train your brain to repeat actions that reduce uncertainty and bring useful results. This is why variable rewards, like a slot machine or an unpredictable notification, can hook attention. The brain leans forward, asking, "Is today the day?" Knowing this lets you design for good. To build a habit, lower friction at the start and pair the action with a stable cue and a small, certain win. Put floss beside the toothbrush. Lay workout clothes where your feet land. Start with 2 minutes so success is nearly guaranteed. Track a chain on a calendar and celebrate completion with a micro reward, a check mark, a sip of something you like, a text to a buddy. To change a habit, don't only say no. Give the brain a replacement that satisfies the same need with less cost. If scrolling at night soothes boredom and stress, try a scripted wind down, dim lights, a warm drink, 10 pages of an easy book, a slow song, same soothing, fewer 2 a.m. regrets. Change the cue, move the phone charger outside the bedroom, add friction to the old routine, log out, grayscale screen, and add ease to the new. Book on pillow, playlist, cued. Expect extinction bursts, a temporary spike in urges when a routine stops paying, and plan for them. If I want to scroll, I will breathe for 1 minute and read 1 page first. Stress and fatigue push the brain toward old habits because they are cheap. That's not weakness, it's energy economics. Shape the environment so the default is kind. Snacks you want within reach. Snacks you don't want behind effort. Water on the desk. Shoes by the door. A friend waiting on the corner for a walk. Identity helps. I am a person who writes 2 sentences daily. Invites action more than I must write a chapter. Small, stable commitments beat grand swings. And remember, dopamine guides learning, not happiness. Deep contentment lives on regular sleep, movement, sunlight, social warmth, and meaningful progress. The quiet rhythm that resets the teacher signal so it doesn't chase fireworks all day. If a habit feels sticky, don't go to war, go to design. Adjust cues, swap routines, protect sleep, lower stress, and let your brain do what it's built to do. Repeat what works, gently forget what doesn't. Emotions aren't switches that flip you into angry or sad by magic. They're body messages interpreted by the brain's prediction system. Your organs, hormones, and immune cells constantly send signals. Heart rate, temperature, gut stretch, blood sugar, inflammation, up to brain areas that track interoception, your sense of the inside. The brain blends those signals with context and past experience to construct a feeling that guides action. tired plus hungry plus loud room might be labeled irritable. The same signals after a long hike might be labeled spent but happy. This is why emotion can shift when context shifts. Water, a snack, shade, and a kind face can turn overwhelmed into okay without philosophy. Researchers sometimes call this allostatic regulation. The brain predicts needs and adjusts the body to keep the budget balanced. Emotions are those budget reports in a language your behavior understands. They aren't the enemy, they're advisories. Slow down, connect, protect, move. You can regulate them not by denial, but by giving the budget what it needs. Sleep to repair, food to stabilize blood sugar, water to ease the heart's job, movement to burn stress chemicals and reset muscle and breath. Breath control, long exhales, to nudge the heart quieter through the vagus nerve, light in the morning to anchor the clock, nature and social warmth to signal safety. Naming feelings. I feel tight and rushed, that's anxiety. Often shrinks their heat. It's called affect labeling, and it seems to help the brain sort the data instead of being flooded by it. Reframing also helps. Interpreting a racing heart before a talk as readiness rather than danger changes the body's next steps. None of this erases real suffering. It gives levers alongside professional care when needed. Emotions also carry information about values. Anger can point to a boundary crossed. Sadness can mark a loss and invite rest and help. Fear can ask for caution or a plan. Joy and gratitude can teach what to repeat. Socially, our nervous systems co-regulate. A calm friend, a steady voice, or a slow hug can quiet your budget faster than willpower because bodies sync. The reverse is true. Tight rooms, harsh light, and sharp voices make prediction harder and drain the budget. Designing gentle environments, softer lights, fewer alarms, places to sit, time buffers, does half the work of emotional health. Practice small routines that preload good predictions. A morning walk, midday stretch, phone on do not disturb for a slice of deep work, a 10-minute tidy that restores order, a nightly wind down at the same time. Over weeks, your body trusts the pattern and your feelings soften. Emotions are not tests you pass, they're whether your brain forecasts. Carry a good coat, sleep, food, water, light, movement, connection, and the storm passes more quickly. Attention is a limited spotlight that you can point by choice or that can be grabbed by sudden changes. You cannot widen it forever. When you try to multitask, you usually task switch, paying a hidden toll each time you move the spotlight. That toll shows up as slower work, more errors, and a tired, jumpy mind. The brain can keep a few things in mind: a number, a goal, a sentence. But every notification, ping, or open tab bids for the spotlight and kicks out what you held. That's why the simplest focus tools are structural, not heroic. Work in blocks with a single target, put the phone in another room, silence alerts, and arrange your desk so the next physical cue leads to the next action. Document open, pen uncapped, first line already started. Start with a tiny bridge, 2 minutes, or 1 paragraph. Once momentum begins, the spotlight is easier to keep steady. Attention likes novelty, so your brain will look for it if it's available. You can feed novelty inside the task, move between sub-steps, change posture, mark progress, or starve novelty outside the task, close extra tabs, hide the dock, go full screen. Background noise matters. Steady sounds, rain, brown noise, a fan can mask sudden spikes that grab attention. Lyrical music usually competes with language tasks. The spotlight also tires. The chemistry that supports focus wanes after a while. Plan breaks on purpose. Stand up, breathe, Look far away to relax eye muscles, sip water, move your joints, step outside for light. Short recovery keeps the next block honest. Mind wandering isn't bad. It's the default network rehearsing memories and plans. Give it a safe corral, a blank card to catch stray ideas so you don't shift tasks to chase them. If wandering dominates, check the friction. Is the next step unclear or too big? Make it obvious and small. If you must handle interruptions, kids, customers, use re-entry cues. Leave a short note on the page. Next, outline 3 bullet points on causes. Set a visual marker or keep a parking lot list. Socially, set gentle rules. Quiet hours, a door sign, shared calendars. At night, screens flood your eyes with light that says day. The clock in your brain gets confused, sleep pressure slips, and tomorrow's attention pays. Use night modes, warm light, earlier shutdowns. In short, you don't win focus by wrestling your brain. You win by designing the stage so the spotlight has one clear subject, minimal surprises and regular rests. Then attention feels like gliding, not grinding. Sleep is not doing nothing. It is active maintenance, like a night crew closing streets to sweep, repair, file, and refuel. Your sleep cycles between NREM, non-REM, and REM stages about every 90 minutes. Early in the night, deep NREM dominates. Slow waves wash across cortex, helping file facts and skills you practiced, cooling inflammation and letting the brain's glymphatic system flush waste products, tiny molecules that build up during the day, out along fluid channels. Later toward morning, REM sleep grows, dreaming ramps up, emotional memories get processed, and the brain experiments, making new associations, testing patterns, and sometimes spitting out odd stories that feel meaningful because your logical brakes are softer. This is why ideas click after sleep, and why grief can soften over nights. Sleep touches both facts and feelings. Miss sleep and everything tilts. Attention frays, pain feels louder, hunger hormones wobble. You crave quick calories, and emotional control thins. Good sleep starts before bedtime. Daylight in the morning anchors your clock. Movement during the day deepens night sleep. Caffeine early is okay for many, but late caffeine hangs around and keeps adenosine, sleep pressure, from doing its job. Big meals and alcohol near bed disturb deep stages even if you fall asleep quickly. Build a wind down that's the same each night. Dim lights, slower breaths, no hard decisions, repeatable steps. Keep the room cool, dark and quiet, or use a steady sound. If thoughts race, give them a page. Write a simple list of tasks for tomorrow. The brain relaxes once plans exist. If you wake at 3 a.m., stay low stimulation. No bright lights, no emails. A calm page or audio helps. A short nap, 10 to 20 minutes, can restore alertness. Longer naps can enter deep sleep and leave you groggy. Use them earlier in the day if you must catch up. Kids and teens need more sleep. Elders may sleep slightly less at night, but benefit from earlier light and routine. If snoring, pauses, or daytime sleepiness persist, that's a medical check, not a moral failure. Sleep apnea is uncommon and treatable. Dreams themselves don't hide secret codes for every symbol. They're your brain rehearsing, blending, and testing. Treat them as postcards from the filing office. Sometimes funny, sometimes scary, sometimes wise. The headline is simple. Prioritize sleep like food and water. You won't notice one bad night, but you'll feel 10 good ones, and your brain will thank you with better focus, steadier mood, stronger immunity, and learning that sticks. Choosing well isn't about being perfectly rational. It's about using your fast systems and slow systems at the right moments. The fast system is pattern-based, emotional and efficient, great for routine choices and danger. The slow system is deliberate, verbal and effortful, great for new, complex or high-stakes choices. Trouble starts when fast habits steer a novel situation or when slow analysis gets overwhelmed and stalls. Give decisions a shape. First, define the real question in a sentence. Many bad choices come from answering the wrong question. Second, set a time limit proportional to the stakes. A coffee choice gets 30 seconds, a job change gets weeks. Third, list options you'd be sad not to consider. The act of listing already cools emotion. Fourth, do a pre-mortem. Imagine the choice failed 6 months from now. What likely went wrong? This invites quiet risks into view. Fifth, check for biases. Are you falling for loss aversion, fearing small losses more than valuing larger gains? Are you sunk costing, continuing because you've already paid time or money? Are you anchored by the first number you heard? Are you framing the same facts as a loss instead of a gain? A quick reframing round can flip a decision from scary to reasonable. Sixth, bring in values. Write 3 qualities you want your future self to thank you for, e.g., fairness, learning, stability. Choose the option that scores best there, not just on short-term comfort. Seventh, test with sleep and distance. If it's not urgent, decide, then wait a night. If you wake steady, proceed. If you wake knotted, reopen. For teams, use checklists and red teams. Someone plays friendly skeptic. For daily life, lower decision load with routines. Same breakfast, fixed exercise window, auto bills, pre-chosen work blocks. Save willpower for truly new problems. Remember that good enough is often good. The brain hates uncertainty. It can keep spinning forever seeking the perfect choice. In many domains, satisficing, meeting clear criteria, beats perfection hunting. Finally, be kind to the decider. Decisions happen in a body. Drink water, stand up, breathe slower, get light, and revisit the file. A hydrated, rested brain decides on a wider, kinder map. If a decision goes badly, do a no-blame review. What signals were missed? What process helped? What change prevents the same error? That turns regret into learning, which is the brain's favorite fuel. Language looks like magic, but it's a team sport inside the brain. When you hear a sentence, tiny hair cells in the ear turn air vibrations into electrical signals. The auditory cortex sorts them by timing and pitch. Nearby regions start grouping syllables into likely words based on your past experience of that language. At the same time, top-down predictions flow from language areas that have already guessed the next word from context. This is why you can understand speech in a noisy cafe and why you sometimes hear a word that wasn't said. Classic textbooks mention Broca's area, near the left frontal lobe, for building sentences, and Wernicke's area, near the left temporal lobe, for decoding meaning. But modern science shows a network: frontal regions for planning sequences, temporal regions for sounds and word meanings, parietal regions for linking words to space and objects, and motor areas that quietly simulate how we'd say or do what we're hearing. Meaning itself isn't stored in a single drawer, it's grounded across the brain. The word apple activates not only sound patterns but also color and shape areas, red, round, smell, taste memories, and hand actions for holding and biting. Reading is a recycling trick. There is no reading module at birth. Instead, a patch of the left visual cortex becomes a visual word form area through practice, learning to treat small shapes as letters, then strings, then whole words. This tuning pairs with language areas through white matter highways. When reading is hard, like in dyslexia, the difficulty can lie in mapping sounds to letters or in timing the signals. Practice that slows down and steadies those mappings helps by giving the brain clearer predictions to learn from. Speaking flips the flow. You start with a message, what you mean, choose words, build a sentence plan, and your motor system shapes breath, vocal cords, tongue, and lips with astonishing precision, while auditory areas listen to your own voice to correct errors in real time. Conversation adds more layers. Turn-taking happens with subtle timing signals in pitch and pausing. Prosody, melody, carries emotion and emphasis. Pragmatics reads the room for intent. Nice job can be praise or tease. Gesture and eye gaze act as extra channels that help your partner's brain predict your meaning before the sentence ends. Bilingual brains aren't two separate machines. They are one adaptable network with multiple lexicons and better control knobs for switching. Across all of this, inner speech, the voice in your head, acts like a planning tool. Rehearsing, editing, soothing, sometimes looping when stress is high. You can shape it. Slower inner speech and kinder wording change how your body budget responds. Language is not just labels, it's a tool for thought. Naming feelings, I feel tight and rushed, anxious, helps regulate them. Labeling problems, the bottleneck is the first step, helps solve them. Stories weave cause and effect so brains can predict better. That's why a clear story calms and a confused story tires. In short, language works because perception, prediction, memory, and movement cooperate. Sounds become guesses, guesses become meanings, meanings become actions, and actions become new stories your brain will use next time. Humans are built to cooperate, and your nervous system is tuned for other people from the start. Faces hold huge real estate in visual cortex. A small motion of an eyebrow can shift your predictions about safety, approval, or risk. When you watch someone reach for a cup, parts of your motor system quietly simulate that reach. Researchers call this a mirror response. It's not a magic empathy area. It's a practical shortcut that helps you predict what others will do next. Higher up the chain, networks that include the temporoparietal junction, medial prefrontal cortex, and other midline regions support theory of mind, the ability to imagine what someone else believes, wants, or plans, even when it differs from your own. This skill grows through childhood as kids play pretend, get things wrong, get feedback, and try again. It keeps refining in adults through conversation, stories, and cultural practice. Empathy has at least two parts. One is affect sharing. You feel a shadow of another's state. You wince when they stub a toe. The other is perspective taking. You understand their situation and needs, even if you don't feel it in your body right now. Good care needs both plus regulation so you don't drown in others' pain. Hormones and transmitters like oxytocin can nudge social behavior, but beware simple headlines. Context matters more than a single molecule. A warm, predictable environment with clear norms helps nervous systems co-regulate. Voices slow, shoulders drop, breathing matches, and problem-solving gets easier because everyone's prediction errors fall. The social brain is also cautious. We form in-group/out-group shortcuts fast to save energy, which can warp perception and memory under stress. The fix isn't to scold the brain, but to design exposure. More varied faces in trusted, calm contexts, shared goals, routines that mix groups, and slower decisions for high-stakes judgments, so top-down checks can edit fast stereotypes. Loneliness isn't just a feeling, it's a body state. Your brain predicts less backup, ramps vigilance, lightens sleep, and reads neutral cues as threat. Small, regular contacts, brief chats, shared tasks, walking clubs, reverse those predictions better than big, rare events. Social pain, rejection, exclusion, lights up some of the same alarm circuits as physical pain. That's why kind words literally soothe and why public shaming burns. Digital life amplifies signals. Without tone and timing, brains fill gaps with worst-case guesses. Add latency, delays, and prediction errors, spike. Calm norms, clear response windows, use of voice or video for touchy topics, generous readings of short messages, help. Empathy grows with curiosity. What might they need? Boundaries. What can I offer without overload? And practice. Listening to stories, reading fiction, volunteering, mentoring. Your social brain is not a judge by default, it's a forecaster. Give it varied data in safe settings and it will predict people more kindly and more accurately, which saves energy and makes groups smarter. Brains grow by overbuilding and refining. In infancy and childhood, neurons make extra connections. The brain tries many paths. With experience, it keeps the useful ones and prunes the rest. The way a gardener shapes a tree, so light reaches all leaves. Sensitive periods arrive for different skills. Vision and hearing early, basic language sounds in toddler years, vocabulary and grammar building strongly through childhood, social rules, planning, and identity work stretching into adolescence. Myelin, the insulation on axons, thickens the highways you use most, speeding signals and saving energy. That's why practice during childhood and teen years feels like laying permanent tracks. The hippocampus helps kids form episodic memories. Their recall improves as networks mature and as they learn strategies, chunking, stories, retrieval. In adolescence, the brain isn't broken, it's rebalancing. Circuits that value novelty and peer signals turn up, useful for leaving the nest, while frontal control areas are still finishing their wiring. Dopamine systems become more responsive to social reward and exploration. With guidance and safe boundaries, this is a feature. Teens learn fast from peers, test identities, and build habits that can serve a lifetime. Sleep need is high. Early school times fight biology. Movement, light in the morning, and predictable routines help attention and mood. Into adulthood, plasticity doesn't disappear. It simply costs more energy and time. You can still grow new skills and sturdier habits by using the same rules. Small steps, spacing, retrieval, sleep, and emotionally meaningful practice. Cognitive reserve, extra capacity built by education, varied work, social ties, exercise and hobbies, acts like a buffer later in life when wear and tear arrives. Two people with the same brain changes can function very differently depending on reserve. Some new neurons appear in adult hippocampus. Scientists debate how many and how long, but most change is about rewiring and myelin tuning. In later years, attention filters can loosen, distractions tug more, and processing can slow. Yet vocabulary, emotion regulation, and wisdom, pattern-based judgment, often improve. Simple supports, good light, larger fonts, less clutter, steady sleep, strength and balance training, hearing and vision care, give older brains the signal clarity they need to shine. Across the lifespan, adversity and trauma can narrow prediction and burn energy. Safety, therapy, community, and time can widen it again. The headline is kind. The brain stays changeable, but it likes rhythm. Give it predictable days, challenging but doable tasks, short rests, social warmth, and decent sleep, and it keeps remodeling. Child, teen, adult, elder, writing new shortcuts that make tomorrow easier than today. Creativity isn't a mysterious spark reserved for a few. It's a process your brain runs when it allows unusual combinations to form and then checks them gently against reality. Two big networks take turns. The default mode network wanders, replays, and recombines memories. The executive network tests, edits, and fits ideas to goals and constraints. If either dominates alone, you get dreamy mush or rigid checklists. When they cooperate, you get fresh but useful ideas. This is why incubation, stepping away, often helps. While you wash dishes or walk, the default mode keeps shuffling cards without the editor shouting, "No, too early." Then, with a pen and a plan, the editor returns to shape what emerged. Creativity likes constraints. Write a tiny story with exactly 50 words. Design a bridge with only wood. Compose using 3 notes. Limits shrink the search space so your predictions can explore deeper. It also likes inputs, varied reading, visiting places outside your field, listening to people with different backgrounds, looking at nature's designs. All feed new raw material to recombine. Keep capture tools, a pocket notebook, a quick dictation app, because ideas are often state-dependent. When arousal, light, smells, or context change, the path that produced the thought may close. Treat first drafts as sketches, not verdicts. The brain learns from seeing and adjusting, not from waiting for perfect. For teams, psychological safety matters. People share odd seeds only if they won't be slammed. Rules like defer judgment, build on, and short time-boxed idea sprints help. Then switch hats, score ideas with clear criteria, and kill many kindly. Your brain works best in waves. Divergent, many options. Convergent, pick and refine, then a short break. Physical state counts. Mild movement raises arousal just enough for exploration. Overly high stress shrinks search to safe, old paths. Sleep stitches far connections. REM can bring novel pairings. Capturing morning fragments can rescue weird, useful angles. Train creativity like a muscle. Small daily prompts. One sketch, one melody, one metaphor. Copy, then twist. Learn a masterwork, then change one. Rule. And constraints games build the neural roots that make new from known feel normal. In the end, creativity is prediction plus permission. You let the brain try unlikely pairings, and you protect the time and space where those pairings aren't punished too soon. The result doesn't need to change the world, it needs to change your tomorrow. One better sentence, smoother workflow, kinder policy, or clearer picture at a time. Stress is your body preparing to meet a demand. In small, short bursts with recovery, it's useful. Heart up, focus tight, fuel released. The trouble is chronic stress. Demands keep coming, recovery lags, and your body budget runs a deficit. The HPA axis, hypothalamus pituitary adrenal, and the sympathetic nervous system release hormones that help for a while but, if kept high, nudge sleep down, digestion off, immunity cranky, and mood narrow. Anxiety is the feeling of a prediction system on high alert, scanning for what might go wrong. Two levers matter most: predictability and control. When events have cues and schedules, prediction errors shrink. When you can take even small actions, the brain reads, "We have options," and spends less emergency fuel. Build predictability with routines. Morning light, regular meals, wind down, lists, next 3 steps visible, and time buffers. Arrive early so. Surprises don't break the plan. Build control with tiny choices. Pick the first task, set a short timer, choose your walking route, arrange your desk so the next action is obvious. Your physiology is a handle. Longer exhales signal safety, slowing heart rhythms through vagal pathways. Movement burns stress chemicals and restores insulin sensitivity. Sunlight anchors your clock and mood. Nature settings lower arousal because they match ancient predictions. Social warmth co-regulates your system faster than solo effort. Reframing helps. Interpret arousal before a test as readiness rather than danger, and performance improves. Treat mistakes as data and your brain stays open enough to learn. Schedule worry time. Write worries for 10 minutes, then close the notebook. This boxes prediction loops so they don't run all day. Reduce background overload. Fewer notifications. Tidy visual fields. Gentle sound. Practice micro rests. 60 seconds of breath, a doorway stretch, looking out a window at distance to relax eye muscles. Build resilience like interval training. Small, safe exposures to challenge. A cold shower's last 10 seconds, a tiny public share of work, a short difficult conversation, followed by recovery, so your system learns we can go up and come back down. Trauma and clinical anxiety are not DIY projects. Professional help is skillful and kind, but daily stress hygiene is for everyone. Boundaries are part of it. Say no when your budget is empty. Protect sleep like a meeting with your future self. Put hard conversations earlier in the day when fuel is higher. Over weeks, the combination of predictable rhythms, tiny controls, body handles, and kind environments widens your window of tolerance. You still feel stress, but it becomes a wave you ride rather than a sea you drown in. Pain is not a direct wire from injury to feeling. It's the brain's protective judgment built from signals in the body and from predictions about threat and safety. The spinal cord has gates that can amplify or dampen signals before they rise. The brain sends descending controls back down that tune those gates based on context. Attention, mood, expectation, memory, and meaning all shape the final experience. If you slice a finger while cooking, pain may spike. If the same slice happens in a game with adrenaline high, you might not feel it until later. This doesn't mean it's all in your head. It means the head is part of your body, and its job is to weigh costs and benefits in the moment. Placebo is a real, measurable effect where belief and context trigger your own pain relief chemistry, endogenous opioids and dopamine, lowering pain or other symptoms even when the treatment is inert. Warmth, a confident and caring clinician, clear explanations, a ritual that your culture recognizes. These are signals of safety and help. Your brain updates predictions and turns down alarm circuits. The flip side, nocebo, raises pain or side effects when you expect harm. Harsh warnings, cold rooms, confusing jargon, or scary stories prime the nervous system toward threat. Everyday levers follow from this. Reframe safe aches as training signals. Tired muscles recovering instead of danger. Shift attention with music, conversation, or a task. Use breath to calm the body. Move gently to keep tissues from stiffening. Sleep to let inflammation settle. For longer-lasting pain, modern care often uses graded exposure. Small, safe movements that expand what your nervous system allows. Rebuilding trust in the body's map. Simple rituals help because they are predictions in costume. A warm bath at the same hour, a stretch sequence with a favorite song. Routine tells the system, relief is coming. Clinician warmth is not fluff, it is part of the dose. So is your story. A clear, non-frightening explanation lowers uncertainty, which lowers pain. None of this replaces medical evaluation for red flags: sudden severe pain, weakness, fever, new neurological signs. It adds skill to everyday management. On the caution side, heavy nocebo can sneak in through well-meaning talk. Dramatic labels or worst-case scans shown without context can lock a nervous system into protection mode. Better, plain words, hopeful but honest timelines, and focus on what helps function today. Remember, pain's job is to protect. You can help it right-size its response with information, movement, sleep, calm surroundings, kind company, and practice that gently proves safety. Over time, the volume knob can turn down, not because the pain wasn't real, but because the brain learned a more accurate, less costly prediction for the signals it receives. Motivation isn't a lightning bolt, it's a quiet pull created by prediction. Your brain leans toward actions that it expects will reduce uncertainty and pay off without burning too much fuel. Dopamine helps teach those expectations, but it isn't happiness or willpower by itself. It's more like a highlighter pen that marks "this mattered" or "this surprised me." Real motivation in daily life is built from 4 slower, steadier pieces: clarity, meaning, momentum, and support. Clarity is knowing exactly what doing the thing looks like in the next 2 minutes. Vague goals are heavy. Specific first steps are light. Get fit is fog. Put on shoes and walk to the corner and back is a clear cue your brain can prepare for. Meaning ties the step to a why that your body recognizes. Health to play with a child, learning to open a door at work, tidying to make mornings calmer. When the brain can predict future comfort from a near action, effort feels smaller. Momentum is the physics of habits in your favor. Small wins, checked boxes, visible streaks. A calendar with daily marks is not childish. It's a prediction tool that says, "We do this now," so the brain spends less energy arguing. Support is the environment and people who lower friction. Shoes by the door, water on the desk, a friend waiting for a walk, a kitchen counter cleared the night before, a do not disturb slot your household understands. You can design motivation by shrinking entry costs, make the first 2 minutes easy, raising certainty, pick times and places, and packing rewards that are gentle and immediate. A warm tea, a short song, the pleasure of crossing off. Track input, not just outcomes. Minutes practiced, pages read, steps taken, things you control. Outcomes lag and can discourage. Input builds identity. I am the kind of person who shows up for 10 minutes. When motivation dips, and it will, treat it as signal, not character. Maybe sleep is short, meals chaotic, light low, tasks too big, or stress high. Fix the budget first. Rest, food, water, light, movement. Then fix the shape. Cut the task in half, then in half again. If you still resist, the first slice is still too big. Build starter rituals that teach your nervous system what comes next. A kettle on, a desk light, 1 deep exhale, timer set. Let curiosity help. Ask, what's the smallest experiment that would be interesting? Curiosity is motivation's quieter cousin. It loves low risk and quick feedback. Finally, align goals with values you can name in a sentence: kindness, learning, steadiness, service. When the small step touches a value, your brain reads it as identity maintenance, not just effort, and the pull grows. You don't have to feel like doing a thing to begin it. Often the feeling arrives after starting because the body's signals, breath, posture, progress update the brain's prediction to, "Oh, we're doing it and it's okay." Motivation is not a mood to wait for. It is a context you can build so action feels safe, small, and worth it. Brains didn't evolve in jars, they evolved in moving bodies. Movement isn't separate from thinking, it supports it. When you walk, your heart, lungs, and muscles send rhythmic signals that help the brain keep time. Blood flow rises in helpful ways. Chemicals that support plasticity, like BDNF, tend to increase. And the constant stream of balance and position information keeps prediction tuned. This is why a brisk walk often unsticks a problem, and why pacing helps people speak and plan. Posture changes the body budget too. A collapsed chest and shallow breath may nudge the brain toward a low-energy, guarded state. An open posture with slow, longer exhales can cue safety, lower heart rhythms, and free attention. You don't need gym heroics to help your brain. Think of 3 gentle pillars: move often, move variously, and move joyfully. Move often means sprinkle your day with short motions. Stand, roll shoulders, stretch calves, climb one flight, step outside for light, look far to relax eye muscles. Little breaks keep blood and chemistry in the sweet spot for thinking and lower the cost of the next focus block. Move variously means include strength, to spare joints when life gets heavy, cardio, to train heart and vessels so stairs feel easy, and skill, balance, coordination, so your nervous system plays. Strength can be body weight, squats to a chair, push-ups on a counter, a backpack row. Cardio can be walking with hills, cycling, dancing. Skill can be standing on one leg while brushing teeth, a few minutes of Tai Chi, or a beginner balance drill. Joyfully means pick motions that your brain labels as rewarding now, not hypothetically later. A route with trees, music you love, a friend, a court game, a pool, a dog. The brain repeats what it predicts will feel okay. Breath is a steering wheel you always carry. Slow, nasal inhales and longer exhales, for example in for 4, out for 6 or longer, stimulate pathways that quiet the heart. A couple of physiological sighs, 2 short inhales through the nose, 1 long exhale through the mouth, can drop arousal quickly. Before a thinking task, a minute of steady breathing plus a posture reset is often better than another coffee. Speaking of coffee, caffeine blocks adenosine, sleep pressure, which can sharpen alertness, but timing matters. Early day is safer. Late cups push sleep and make tomorrow fuzzy. Sunlight on your eyes in the morning anchors your clock, so movement and focus line up when you need them. If pain or limits complicate movement, think graded exposure. Tiny, safe motions that enlarge your map without alarming the system. 2 minutes today, 3 tomorrow. The goal isn't athletic identity, it's brain-ready physiology. A day with scattered movement, a few breaths with long exhales, an open chest, and eyes that go outside to the far distance sets the stage for clearer thoughts, steadier moods, and learning that sticks. Your brain runs on glucose and oxygen and accounts for a large share of your resting energy use. It doesn't need fancy fuel as much as it needs steady fuel. When meals are chaotic, big sugar peaks and long crashes, attention dips, irritability rises, and small hassles feel big because the prediction system reads low supply. A simple pattern helps. Regular meals, protein and fiber with each, colorful plants, healthy fats, and water on purpose. Protein slows digestion and supports neurotransmitter building blocks. Fiber, vegetables, fruits, beans, whole grains, slows sugar spikes and feeds gut microbes that make helpful molecules. Fats from fish, nuts, olive oil, and seeds support cell membranes, including in neurons. You don't have to be perfect, you have to be predictable. Breakfast matters for many brains. A mix like eggs or yogurt, plus fruit plus oats, or whole grain toast plus nuts keeps the morning level. If mornings are rushed, prep is motivation. A jar of overnight oats, a smoothie bag in the freezer, nuts in a small tin. Lunch can be simple: beans and rice with greens, soup and whole grain bread, leftovers with added veg. Dinner: aim for 80% plants, 20% protein/fats, and stop a bit before bed so sleep stages stay deep. Hydration is a quiet performance booster. Even mild dehydration can fuzz thinking and amplify headaches. Keep water visible. Sip steadily. Caffeine is a tool. Respect its half-life. It lingers. If you like an afternoon cup, keep it early. Alcohol fragments sleep even if it helps you doze. Your brain prefers fewer nights of it and more nights of clean sleep. Micronutrients matter, but you often get them by eating variety. Leafy greens for folate and magnesium, citrus and peppers for vitamin C, dairy or fortified alternatives for calcium, fish or flax chia walnuts for omega-3s. If you restrict groups, vegan, gluten-free, plan replacements so the brain supply stays even. The gut-brain axis is real, but often overstated. What's solid is that fiber-rich foods foster microbial diversity, which can support a calmer immune tone, which can influence mood and energy. Fancy supplements rarely beat basics. If in doubt, discuss with a clinician. Timing can help attention. Heavy, high-fat meals can make you sleepy as blood shifts to digestion. Place deep focus work before a lighter meal and heavier meals when you can rest after. Sugar is not poison, it's a fast fuel. Use sparingly with protein and fiber so you don't get the roller coaster. Snacks that keep you level: fruit plus nuts, yogurt, hummus plus veg, whole grain crackers plus cheese or tofu, a boiled egg. If mood dips late afternoon, check your triangle. Did you sleep enough? Drink water? Eat real food? Often one side is missing. The brain loves routine more than rules. Choose a simple plan you can repeat most days. That predictability is what your nervous system reads as safety, and what your attention thanks you for with clearer hours. Devices aren't enemies, unstructured inputs are. Your attention system was built for finite cues: footsteps, a face, a rustle, not endless scrolls designed to always have one more. You can keep the gifts of tech, connection, learning, tools, without donating your focus by designing guardrails. Start with defaults. Turn off most notifications. Leave on only those that are truly time-sensitive: a person, a delivery, a door. Move tempting apps off the first screen. Put work apps in a tidy folder. Keep a reading-only phone home screen. Use scheduled Do Not Disturb windows that match your best focus hours. Work in full screen. Hide the dock. Close tabs you won't use this block. Make sight blockers your friend during deep work. You're not fighting willpower. You're removing bids for your spotlight. Batch messages twice or thrice a day. Tell people when you reply. Use asynchronous tools, shared docs, boards, for non-urgent work so you don't train your team to interrupt. Sound matters. Use steady sound, brown noise, rain, to mask sharp noises. Lyrics compete with language tasks. Instrumentals or silence often help. Vision matters. Reduce visual clutter. A minimal desktop lowers background prediction errors. Keep a small paper pad to catch stray ideas so you don't flee to a browser. At night, screens tell your brain it's day. Dim earlier, use warm color settings, and set a shutdown ritual. a checklist, a lamp, a book, a song. If you wake and reach for your phone, you're teaching your clock that 3 a.m. is social hour. Replace the habit with a low-light audio or a paper page. Social media can be nourishing when bounded. Follow accounts that leave you calmer, set timers, keep phones out of the bedroom, and make real-world buffers around online time, a short walk before or after. For kids and teens, co-create house rules that respect biology. Screens off before bed, devices charging outside rooms, morning light and movement first. Make tech-free zones, table, bedroom, and tech-full zones, shared desk, so the brain knows what to expect in each place. Meetings, default shorter, fewer, clearer. Agendas, written decisions, and recordings beat long, meandering calls. Cameras off when not needed reduces fatigue. Humans watch faces hard. Use status boards and office hours so people don't guess when to interrupt. Finally, remember that boredom is not failure. It is the brain's signal to look inside for ideas or move the body. When everything is stimulating, nothing is. Leave white space on your calendar, desk, wall, and phone. White space is where attention recovers, creativity whispers, and sleep arrives on time. Cognitive aging isn't a cliff. It's a slope shaped by how you've used and cared for your brain and body. Processing can slow, and filters can loosen so distractions tug more. But many strengths often grow. Vocabulary, pattern-based judgment, emotion regulation, and the ability to see big pictures without getting lost in details. The concept of cognitive reserve explains why two people with similar brain changes can function very differently. Reserve is built by education, varied work, hobbies, social ties, movement, and good sleep. All the activities that lay extra pathways and strengthen white matter highways so the system can route around wear and tear. You build reserve at any age by learning new, meaningful skills. A language, an instrument, a craft, a community role. Novelty plus practice plus relevance forms durable tracks. Strength and balance work is brain work too. Leg strength lowers fall risk. Balance drills keep maps of your body sharp. Walking in varied terrain trains prediction. Light matters more as eyes age. Brighten rooms, reduce glare. Use higher contrast fonts and labels. Clear clutter so maps aren't overworked. Hearing and vision aids are not vanity, they are cognitive devices. When signals are clear, the brain spends less fuel guessing and more on remembering and reasoning. Sleep can fragment with age. Earlier light, gentle evening routines, and cool dark rooms help. Food and water routines reduce dips. Medications can affect attention and memory. Review them with a clinician if fog appears. Social connection is powerful medicine. Regular chats, shared walks, clubs, volunteering, mentoring. Loneliness is a risk factor for health decline because it keeps the nervous system in quiet vigilance. Purposeful roles, reading to kids, teaching a skill, tending a garden, give structure and meaning that brains love. If you notice changes, names harder, tasks slower, use external memory on purpose. Calendars, notes, labeled drawers, pillboxes, routines that make the next action obvious. Practice retrieval gently, quizzes with a friend, simple games, recalling the day in order at dinner. If changes interfere with daily life, getting lost, paying bills, keeping track of medicines, seek evaluation early. Many causes are manageable: sleep disorders, vitamin deficiencies, mood, thyroid, hearing/vision issues. The tone matters, not fear, but planning. draft powers of attorney, simplify finances, list passwords in a secure, shareable way, and teach a loved one your systems. This isn't pessimism, it's kindness to your future self. Aging well is not a single hack. It's rhythm, morning light, daily steps, a bit of strength and balance, good meals, clean sleep, friends, and something small to learn this week. Do that, and the slope stays gentle and full of good days. Mental health is health. The brain is a body organ running a complex prediction and budget system. When signals, biology, and life strain push it too hard for too long, mood and thinking can wobble. Anxiety, depression, OCD, ADHD, bipolar disorder, trauma-related conditions. These are patterns with biological and learning roots, not personal failures. Begin by reading symptoms as signals, not verdicts. If worry loops won't stop, if sleep slides, if joy goes flat, if focus shatters, if getting out of bed feels like a climb each day, if you think about hurting yourself, those are signs the budget is overwhelmed and deserves skilled help. First steps can be practical. Restore sleep windows, eat regularly, hydrate, get morning light, and walk in small, steady bits. These don't cure everything, but they free fuel for other care. Next, talk to someone, a primary doctor, counselor, therapist, or trusted community clinician. They can screen for medical contributors, thyroid, anemia, infections, meds, discuss therapies, and, if appropriate, medications. Therapies are skills training. CBT helps notice and test unhelpful thoughts. ACT helps you act on values even when feelings are rough. Exposure therapy helps your prediction system calm around triggers. Trauma-informed care respects safety and pace. Family or couples work improves the environment where brains co-regulate. Medication can be a bridge or a long-term tool for some conditions. It's not a moral statement, it's chemistry help. Any plan should include follow-ups to tune dose and approach. If access is hard, look for community clinics, telehealth, sliding scale services, school counselors, peer groups, or credible self-guided programs recommended by clinicians. Reduce stigma in your circle by using the same tone you'd use for a sprained ankle. Matter of fact, kind, no shame. Crisis needs clarity. If you or someone you love is at immediate risk of self-harm or harm to others, seek emergency help right away through local services. Staying alive is step one. Build buffers in ordinary weeks. A small support map, names plus numbers. A worry window where you write, then close the notebook. Screens off before bed. Movement you enjoy. A few people you check in with. For caregivers, boundaries protect both sides. You can be present without carrying everything. Learn the plan, share duties, and rest. For workplaces and schools, treat mental health like safety. Clear time for appointments, quiet rooms, reasonable loads, and training for managers. The core message is gentle and firm. Needing help is normal. Early help is smart. Recovery often looks like skills plus supports plus time, with ups and downs that are part of learning, not proof of failure. Your brain is not your enemy. It's trying to protect you with the best model it has. With rest, skills, connection, and care, that model can change, and life can feel workable again. Addiction isn't a moral failing. It's a learning loop that has been trained too well and too fast by powerful rewards and relief. The brain's prediction system links a cue, place, time, friend, smell, feeling, to a routine, use, scroll, bet, binge, to a result, pleasure, relief. From stress, escape from pain or boredom. Each time the routine pays off, dopamine highlights the moment so future predictions fire earlier. Eventually at the cue more than the reward itself. That's why a bar's doorway, a phone's buzz, payday, or a stressful meeting can trigger a surge of craving even before a first sip, tap, or bite. Over time, the brain adapts. Tolerance grows. You need more for the same effect. Sensitization can grow for cues, they pull harder, and normal pleasures feel dull because the prediction system has been recalibrated to expect the big spike. Withdrawals and low mood are partly a body budget crash. Sleep frayed, nutrition poor, stress high, social safety thin. None of this means change is hopeless. It means the plan must respect learning and biology. Start by mapping your loop with curiosity, not shame. What are the when, where, who feeling cues? What routine follows? What result do you get right then? Soothing, stimulation, numbness, and what cost shows up later? Now design competing loops that answer the same need with less damage. If the cue is anxiety at night, build a wind-down ritual that begins before the usual hour. Dim lights, put the phone in another room, make a warm drink, shower, read 3 easy pages, lights out, stack 2 or 3 soothing steps so the body learns a new prediction. If the cue is boredom after work, set a standing plan that starts automatically, a friend walk, a class, a hobby table already laid out, so the first 5 minutes don't require willpower. Add friction to the old loop. Remove apps, change routes, cache not cards, smaller quantities in the house, and grease the new loop. Tools visible, allies texted, calendar blocked. Expect urge waves, don't fight them head on. Practice urge surfing. Notice the rise, label it, here's craving. Breathe longer on the exhale, let it peak and pass like a wave without acting. Most urges fade in minutes if unfed. Keep the body budget steady. Actual food, water, morning light, movement, and regular sleep lower baseline stress so cues pull less. For nicotine, alcohol, and opioids, medications can be life-saving tools. Nicotine replacement, varenicline, bupropion for tobacco, naltrexone or acamprosate for alcohol, buprenorphine or methadone for opioids. Paired with counseling, they reduce mortality and craving by stabilizing biology so learning can change. Swap shame for supervision. Tell one trusted person the plan, schedule check-ins, make slip-ups data. What cue did we miss? Not identity. Replace quit forever with don't do the next one and stack tiny wins. Your prediction system learns from immediate outcomes. If you relapse, treat it like taking a wrong exit. You still know the map. Turn around, shorten the gap to your next good day. Strengthen replacements that fill the same slot. Social warmth, novelty that isn't destructive, purposeful tiredness from exercise, creativity, or service. Many people mix mutual help, peer groups, therapy, CBT, motivational interviewing, trauma-informed care, medical support, and family changes. Remove cues at home. Recovery isn't spotless, it's practice. Each week of steadier sleep, fewer cues, kinder environments, and quick restarts rewrites the loop. Your brain is doing what it was built to do. Learn strong predictions from repeated payoffs. Give it new payoffs and better predictions, and the loop gradually serves you instead of running you. Good learning is less about cramming content in and more about pulling it out in small, repeated, meaningful ways. The brain saves what it expects to use and what it has struggled with just enough to mark as important. That's why retrieval practice, testing yourself without notes, beats rereading. Each pull strengthens the path and tells your prediction system this matters. Spacing those pulls across days cements them. Sleep in between is part of the lesson. Mix in interleaving, shuffle-related topics so the brain learns to tell them apart. It feels harder, but test scores rise because the model is sharper. Use dual coding. Pair words with simple visuals, gestures, or concrete objects so multiple brain maps share the load. Keep examples abundant and varied. Move from clear worked examples to partially worked to independent attempts. Show non-examples so boundaries are obvious. Keep language plain and chunked. Cognitive load is real. Too many new terms at once flood working memory and starve understanding. Use the multimedia principles. Signal what matters with headings and highlights. Segment long explanations into bite-sized pieces. Reduce extraneous decoration. Put labels next to diagrams. Align narration with visuals rather than split attention across busy slides and dense text. Encourage elaboration. Ask, how does this connect to something you know? And why would this step be true? The brain learns by hanging new ideas on old hooks. Treat errors as information. Instant, kind feedback prevents wrong paths from solidifying, and errorless shaping, tiny steps, helps fragile learners get momentum. Help learners build metacognition, a sense of what they know and don't, by quick checklists. Could I teach this to a friend? And exam wrappers that review what worked or didn't. Use desirable difficulties. Problems just beyond comfort, with support. Too easy teaches boredom. Too hard teaches, I can't. Timers and short sprints avoid overthinking. Reflection after sprints consolidates. Design for inclusion from the start. Universal design for learning. Multiple ways to engage. Discussion, hands-on, quiet reflection. Multiple ways to represent content. Audio, text, visuals. Multiple ways to express mastery. Explain, build, demonstrate. Accessibility helps everyone. Readable fonts, high contrast, captions, transcripts, predictable navigation. Classroom climate is a learning technology. Psychological safety lets people ask questions and try. Clear routines calm prediction so working memory can be used for ideas, not guessing rules. For self-study, make a loop. Preview. Skim headings. Active study. Explain aloud, do problems. Retrieval. Quiz. Spacing. Calendar. Small teachbacks to a friend or a rubber duck sounds silly. They force gaps to show so you can fix them. For long-term projects, plan spirals. Revisit the same core with increasing depth, rather than one pass. Remember that boredom and confusion are not morals. They are signals to change pace, example, or tool. And always attach meaning. The hippocampus indexes better when facts live in a story, a place, a problem that matters. The best teachers, including your future self, trade showmanship for structure plus kindness. Clearer maps, shorter steps, frequent checks, and faith that effort changes brains. Work feels best when your brain's predictions match the shape of the task. You know the target. The next step is visible. Feedback arrives fast, and the challenge sits near your current skill. Hard enough to be interesting, not so hard it panics you. That sweet spot is often called flow. To reach it on purpose, design your day in blocks that respect how attention waxes and wanes, roughly 60 to 90 minutes for many people. and wrap each block with a ritual that teaches your nervous system what's next. Clear desk, one browser tab, timer set, one slow exhale. State the win condition in plain language. Draft 3 bullet points, refactor this function, outline 2 slides. Make feedback quick. Compile often, run tests, sketch then compare, read aloud to hear clunky prose. Reduce uncertainty in the first 5 minutes so the prediction system says go. Open the file, title the page, write the first ugly sentence. Protect the block by removing competing predictions. Mute notifications, full screen the tool, shut the door, use a sign or shared calendar to claim the time. If you stall, shrink the step again, or switch to a support task, formatting, references, to sustain momentum, then slide back. Remember the challenge skill dial. If bored, increase challenge. Add a twist, speed, or constraint. If anxious, lower difficulty or add scaffolds. Checklist, example, pair partner. Teams can design flow collectively. Meeting hygiene, short agenda, decisions captured. Async documents for deep thinking before discussion. Office hours for questions so people don't ping randomly. Focus windows where nobody expects instant replies. In hybrid/remote setups, replace hallway queues with clear status boards and written specs. Set quiet hours to sync across time zones. Let cameras rest unless needed. Watching faces burns attention. Physical setup matters. A chair and desk that fit, screen at eye height, wrists neutral, light from the side, not behind you. Airflow. Plants if you like them. Use ultradian rhythm breaks. 5 to 10 minutes to walk, stretch, drink water, look far outdoors. Celebrate finish lines. A check mark, a shared note, a tiny treat. Because completion teaches the prediction system that effort leads to reward. Guard switching costs. Cluster similar tasks, batch messages, and end blocks with a closing note. Next time, add figure, fix paragraph 2. Burnout isn't solved by vacations alone. It's solved by daily pacing, honest loads, and workplaces that value steady output over constant availability. Managers can protect brains by publishing priorities, killing low-value work, rotating on-call duties, and praising maintenance work, docs, tests, cleanup, as much as flashy launches. Flow is not mystic, it's design. Make goals visible, narrow the stage, fit challenge to skill, accept drafts, rest on schedule, and let small wins stack until the day feels like a glide rather than a grind. Art and music work because the brain is a prediction machine that loves patterns with surprise. A melody sets up expectations, scales, rhythms, harmonies, then violates them just enough to delight without confusing. That just enough surprise triggers tiny bursts of dopamine and chills via prediction error in auditory and reward circuits. Rhythm entrains. Your motor system and cerebellum lock to the beat, your breathing and heart sway, and suddenly you feel together with others in a room even if you haven't spoken. Visual art plays the same game. Symmetry and repetition set a scaffold. Contrast, color, and perspective add novelty. Your eye saccades across edges. Your brain stitches a story. Order, then twist. Poetry compresses meaning, so every line is a small riddle that resolves. Dance turns prediction into motion, letting your body rehearse possibilities you didn't have words for. This is not fluff. It's neuroscience in daily clothes. Making art strengthens attention, sequencing, sensory maps, and emotion regulation. Learning an instrument recruits both hands, eyes, ears, timing, memory, and social cues in one package. Choir singing synchronizes breathing and heart rate, boosts belonging hormones, and calms. In therapy, music helps stroke patients retrain speech. Rhythm guides gait in Parkinson's. Art therapy gives shape to hard emotions when language fails. Dance/movement therapy restores agency after trauma by letting safe, controlled movement change predictions about the body. You don't need talent, you need participation. Keep small tools visible. A pencil and postcard watercolor kit, a cheap keyboard, a playlist for different states. Focus, comfort, walking. Visit museums and street art with a curious, slow eye. Notice your body's response and name it. Tenderness, awe, grief, energy. Share art in low-stakes ways. A sketch to a friend, a photo walk, a humming habit while you tidy. At home, weave art into rituals. A song that opens your work block, a stanza you copy by hand at lunch, a doodle page during calls, 5 minutes of scales before bed. Beauty is not a luxury, it's maintenance for attention and mood. It gives your prediction system safe surprises so it doesn't hunt for dangerous ones. And it trains a gentle courage to try, to fail kindly, to try again. The brain uses those same circuits when facing life's hard tasks. Art is practice for being human. Imagine a day built as a helpful environment for your nervous system. Upon waking, you open a curtain and get morning light in your eyes for a few minutes. You sip water. You do 2 minutes of stretch or steps to tell your body we're moving. Breakfast is steady fuel, protein plus fiber, to keep glucose smooth. Before work, you write the one thing that earns the day if done, and you ring-fence a focus block of 60 to 90 minutes. Phone in another room, one tab, timer on, first tiny step made obvious. After, you take a real break. Stand, breathe long exhales, look at something far away, get a bit of sun, drink. Late morning holds lighter tasks. Lunch arrives on time and simple. Afternoon starts with a reset ritual, a 3-minute walk or stairs, and another block if needed. Messages are batched. Meetings are short and clear. Notes capture decisions so your brain lets go. Mid-afternoon, a snack with protein and water prevents the crash. You weave micro-movements all day. Shoulder rolls, calf raises, posture checks. A 10-minute walk outside if possible. You touch people on purpose. A kind text, a quick hello, a coffee chat. Social warmth is regulation, not extra. You end work with a shutdown, list tomorrow's first step, clear the desk, thank your future self. Evening has screen boundaries. Devices dim, heavy topics wait. You cook or assemble simple food with color. Maybe you create a page, a sketch, a song, or read a few easy pages. Later, a wind down begins at the same time most nights. Lights low, warm shower or bath, a repeatable sequence. Tidy 5 minutes, make tea, stretch, journal 3 lines. Bedroom is cool, dark, quiet with a steady sound if needed. Phone sleeps outside. If you wake at 3 a.m., you keep lights low and use a boring page or audio instead of the internet. Across the week, you plan anchors. A longer walk, one strength session, body weight is fine, one balance practice, one social plan, one nothing block to protect rest. Across the month, you do a tiny review. What drained? What filled? What do you stop, start, or continue? You keep external memory, calendars, lists, labeled places for keys, so working memory can think. You treat red flags, snoring, relentless worry, low mood, brain fog as signals to seek help. You give your brain beauty, music at breakfast, a plant on the desk, a sunset on purpose. You forgive missed days quickly. The value is in returning, not perfection. This plan is not a performance. It's a hospitality guide for the guest who lives in your skull. When you offer light, fuel, movement, sleep, clarity, and kindness, the guest does what it's built to do. Predict well, learn steadily, feel deeply, decide wisely, and rest. The brain is wonderful enough as it is. It doesn't need myths. Let's clear a few so your expectations are kind and your choices are sane. Myth: we only use 10% of our brain. Reality: brain scans show activity across many areas, even for simple tasks. Energy is precious, and evolution wouldn't carry 90% extra hardware. Myth: left brain logical, right brain creative. Reality: there are asymmetries, but most complex work uses both hemispheres in networks. Myth: one learning style per person, visual/auditory/kinesthetic. Reality: people have preferences, but mixing modalities helps everyone. Matching style hasn't shown strong benefits. Use visuals for visual things, sound for sound, and hands when doing helps. Myth: brain games make you smarter at everything. Reality: they make you better at the game. General benefits are modest. Real gains come from sleep, movement, learning meaningful skills, and social engagement. Myth: multitasking saves time. Reality: most of us task switch, paying a toll in errors and fatigue. Myth: emotions and reason are opposites. Reality: emotions are data about body budgets and goals. Good decisions use both. Myth: memory is a video recorder. Reality: memory is reconstruction. It's useful but fallible. Confidence isn't accuracy. Myth: willpower is character. Reality: willpower is a state that tires. Design beats grit. Change cues, reduce friction, protect sleep, and ask for help. On the promise side, beware neurohype. Pretty brain images can seduce, but an fMRI blob doesn't make a claim true. Be cautious with big conclusions from tiny samples, buzzwords without mechanisms, miracle supplements, and claims that ignore context. Sleep, nutrition, trauma, poverty. Real progress looks like boring improvements. Better therapies tested in many people, safer medications, clearer school routines, workplaces that respect attention, cities that offer benches and light. Science also has limits. Brains are not identical. Results vary. Averages don't dictate your destiny. Many questions remain open. How networks shift during insight, how exactly sleep stitches memory, how to measure consciousness without guessing, how to prevent or slow neurodegeneration more effectively. Uncertainty is not failure, it's honesty, and it keeps us from wasting time on fads. You can use science like a toolbox: sleep and light, movement, retrieval practice, habits, therapy, without needing cartoons of neurons on every label. The best signal you're on the right path is function. Life feels a bit easier, attention steadier, relationships kinder, work smoother, and sleep closer. If a tip makes your world smaller or anxious, it's probably not for you. Trust first principles and small experiments over spectacle. A single brain lives inside larger systems, and those systems can either shove or support. Homes: light in the morning rooms, warm lamps at night, quiet corners, labelled places for keys and meds, a bowl of fruit visible, water within reach, shoes by the door, a cheap cart to roll heavy things, and a charging station outside bedrooms. Schools, predictable routines, clear visual schedules, movement breaks, natural light, low glare paper and screens, high contrast fonts, explicit teaching of attention and memory skills, retrieval practice baked in, kindness as a rule, and spaces for quiet plus spaces for noise. Clinics, plain language signs, friendly check-ins, shorter forms, clear explanations of why and what next, warm rooms to fight nocebo, and consistent follow-up. Mental health woven into primary care so people don't fall through cracks. Workplaces, fewer loud open-plan distractions, small rooms for focus, remote-friendly tools and etiquette, meetings with agendas and endings, status boards instead of guesswork, policies that protect sleep, no after-midnight pings, praise for maintenance and documentation, breaks that are normal, not guilty, retail and services, benches, shade, water fountains, bathrooms, lines that move predictably, good signage, and staff trained to de-escalate gently. These soothe nervous systems and reduce conflict. Transit, level boarding, clear maps, real-time info, reliable schedules, and quiet cars. Longer walks feel shorter when the prediction is steady. Parks, shade, paths with varied lengths, places to sit, water, toilets, night lighting, that's shielded and warm, nature lowers arousal and gives safe surprises. Digital spaces, default, quiet notifications, clear privacy, slow modes by choice, rescue buttons for harassment, and interfaces that reveal the next step without hiding traps. Policies, start school later for teens biology, protect green spaces, make mental health care affordable, add apprenticeships for the trades that keep systems safe, electric, ventilation, water, reward prevention, repairs, insulation, shade, over crisis heroics, community, fix-it days, tool libraries, walking clubs, elder tech mentors, teen reading buddies. Co-regulation is public health, emergency design, clear flood heat plans with drills that feel like picnics, not panic, cool rooms open early during heat waves, text plus radio, plus door knock redundancy so everyone gets the message. The pattern is simple. Reduce prediction errors in places people must use, provide clear cues, add rest spots, respect sleep and light, and build social warmth. When systems are brain-friendly, individuals don't have to spend willpower to fight them. Their energy goes to learning, caring, creating, and resting. That's prosperity measured in easier days. Here is the quiet truth, gathered from all our acts. Your brain is not a mystery box or a perfect computer. It is a living prediction and preparation system wrapped around a body, working to keep your internal budget steady while meeting the world. It guesses what will happen next using your memories, your senses, and the signals from your heart, lungs, gut, immune system, and skin. It compares those guesses to reality, learns from the errors, and sends tiny adjustments to muscles, glands, and attention so you stand without fainting, read without seeing every letter, understand a friend's face, and decide what to do next. The cast includes neurons that spike and glia, that feed, clean, and speed, chemistry that tilts the odds, maps and highways that route sight, sound, touch, and movement, rhythms that time messages, and plasticity that quietly rebuilds circuits as you practice. Perception is a smart guess checked by the world. Memory is reconstruction tuned by retrieval and sleep. Habits are energy-saving shortcuts. Emotions are budget reports and action hints. Attention is a spotlight that needs design more than willpower. Sleep is nightly maintenance that files, cleans, and heals. Decisions blend fast hunches and slow checks. Motivation grows from clarity, meaning, momentum, and support. Movement, light, food, water, and social warmth are not nice-to-haves. They are levers your brain reads as safety. Addiction is a learned loop that can be relearned with new cues, replacements, medical tools, and patient help. Learning sticks when you retrieve, space, interleave, and connect ideas to things that matter. Work flows when goals are clear. Challenge fits skill. Feedback is quick, and rest is honest. Art and music feed prediction with safe surprises, syncing bodies and easing moods. A brain-friendly day is simple. Morning light, steady meals, movement sprinkled in, protected focus, real breaks, kind contact, screen boundaries, and a consistent wind down. Myths can go. Reality is wonderful enough. Systems around us, homes, schools, clinics, workplaces, cities, can either drain or support brains. Choose designs that calm predictions and make the next good action obvious. If tonight you remember only one line, make it this: your brain is on your side. It learns from what you repeat. It rests when you let it. It feels better when the signals are simple and safe, and it grows across a lifetime with small, steady steps. So as you settle now, give it the conditions it loves: dim light, quiet air, slower breaths, a body at ease, a simple story that tomorrow will have one clear thing to do and enough time to do it. You don't need to hold every idea. Your brain will keep the shape and fill details later. Thank you for spending this time with me, for your curiosity, and for your care for the soft, powerful organ that carries your days. Sleep gently, let the predictions soften, and allow the night crew to file and repair. Thank you for watching, and good night.